Welcome back to the Concussion Protocol Podcast. My name is Connor. With me, as always, are Chance and Chase. This is our last episode before fall camp begins for the 2025 college football season. We are so excited, and we're going to take some time this episode to just have some fun. We've got some hot routes and hot topics that we're going to be talking about, just things that are near and dear to our hearts, philosophizing on what we love about the sport, things that make tradition great, things that make Cinderella stories great, and so even some surprise topics that we hope just get everybody in the right frame of mind to enjoy this season. So without further ado, Chance, you had brought up a couple days ago when we were prepping for this episode that you had kind of a little bit of a question for us that you wanted our thoughts on, and you were making it seem like it was going to be a pretty interesting question. So why don't you lead us off with whatever's on your mind?
You misinterpreted fun was stupid. Wow, I don't know why we're starting out the episode with this, but yeah, I had a vision or just a thought the other day, and I was like, I'm a genius. And you guys know when you have those, and then like 10 minutes later, you're like, oh, you're stupid. It's one of those things, but it might be interesting, and I don't know.
It usually doesn't take me more than 10 minutes to realize that I'm an idiot, but
yeah,
at least Connor got to throw you under the bus right away. So
yeah, exactly. This is Connor's plan. Yeah, I don't know if this is something that's against the rules, or if it's a good idea, a bad idea, but I had it. It's actually about equipment for football,
okay.
and specifically for the QB. I think I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I was thinking about how QBs, when they scramble out of the pocket or when they're left for their blind side, that oftentimes they'll have the opportunity to scramble or they get sacked, and just the QB presence in general. And I was thinking, well, what if a QB underneath his uniform wore like kind of a circular band that had some vibrators on it, and somebody on the sideline could like hit a vibrating button for when a QB was in trouble, and so that he can know, shoot, I've got to run, or I got to pass, or I got to throw it away. Is that against the rules, or would that be something smart that they can do so that the QB can just get like a buzz and like, shoot, I got to throw it away, or like, okay, I got to take off?
How about okay, I will answer your question, but first, just to avoid getting banned on YouTube, can we change our phrasing to a buzzer instead?
All right, you get buzzed, sure.
I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Connor, bring attention to it, man. Just like I just want to dial it back.
No, you were just gonna Chase. I saw your face. You were just gonna let him roll for the rest of the episode.
I've done that a couple times.
Putting vibrators down every quarterback's pants.
You're the one that brought it up. I let those fly over. I can't hide my facial expressions. I'm a bad liar.
It's on the outer thigh. Give me a break.
Vibration.
Uh-huh.
That's
okay,
different
so
from a vibrator, and I clarified that where it would be.
Yeah. We all know the lengths you went to. So they got this buzzer thing on their outer thigh.
No, look, you put it right underneath, so it protects it. You put it right underneath your shoulder pads, like right across your chest. And then you have QB number 4, who's not playing the plays, that when a QB is out of the pocket, or even if he's in the pocket, right? He's got like 1 or 2 seconds. Somebody's coming towards him. He presses the button, and it gives him a little buzz on his little device, and he knows, shoot, I need to throw it away, or I need to take off, or whatever, because he can't see his blind side.
I think that would be super duper cheating. That would be interference by the sideline.
I don't know if it's cheating, but I think it could affect the throw. It could affect the throw. It could constantly leave the quarterback like tense.
Okay, I'm not
The
talking
buzzer.
like a dog collar where it's like super shocking him. I'm just like a little buzz, that's like, hey, you got somebody coming.
I'd be more worried about them not being able to feel it. Like
Okay,
when
well,
your adrenaline's
strong
going,
enough
I mean,
to feel it, but not strong enough to have it, kill you.
And if he gets hit once, does it break? Do we have to replace it now?
Well, like,
Decide,
okay, that
time
was
out.
one of my concerns. Is it going to break? I don't know. But like, I don't know. There's tons of times where I'm watching somebody and they've got a defender coming at them, and it's like, throw the ball away, take off, you got to do it. And then they don't know they're coming and they get sacked or they get hit. And it's like, dude, if you just would have made a decision. Or there's a lot of times where the quarterback's coming out and he has all the time in the world because nobody's coming after him. And he could take off, sure, and he could take off for 5 yards. But he could sit there and wait and just wait for a receiver to get wide open. And he doesn't make the right decision because he doesn't know he has all that time. And I'm just saying, if there was some sort of device that can fit under the uniform just to give him a little time or know how much time he's got left to make that decision.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of leave the on the field play on the field.
Well, you got helmets that have mics in them.
Yeah,
almost.
don't they turn
Yeah,
off?
they cut off with 15 seconds.
Well, I'm just saying that if you can have that, but you can't have something that buzzes.
Well, because it's active during the play, so it would probably fall under that. Maybe you get like a team that could get away with it for like a year, right? But then they get caught.
Well, and how would you know that people are
no,
doing
you're
that?
okay, but then that would raise the exact same question then for a corner. What's the number one issue that a corner and a safety have? Not getting their head turned around or not realizing the ball's coming, and like, would you not then be able to have a buzzer for someone to be like, hey, he threw, get your head turned around? I mean,
why not? I'm just wondering. Right. I mean, if that's against the rules or if it would be even smart.
I don't see it personally, but I don't know. I'm not going to give you a hot take for it.
Well, I wasn't going for a hot take. I knew it was going to be a dumb conversation, but I was just thinking, how has nobody else thought of this?
I think it would be pretty similar to what the Houston Astros were doing with their stealing calls. Well, so it's an outside player or whomever outside of the field tampering with the game. So I don't think it would. I don't think it would be legal in any sense.
That's
but
fair.
It's an interesting idea.
I mean,
my only thing is, could you get away with it?
You're talking about a league that we're hearing more and more that they're stealing plays, right? You got the guy we talked about at Memphis that was giving away playbooks.
Hey, that wasn't stealing. He was selling those plays for free.
he had a license.
Have you heard the one? I actually don't believe this one, but have you heard the one about BYU and ASU?
No.
So there was a safety that no longer is at BYU, Crew Wakely. I personally don't believe that this one's true, but he's good friends with Dallin Levitt, who was the brother of Sam Levitt, and he would talk about defense and plays and all that, and he did film all the week with Levitt all the way up to the ASU game that week. So there's accusations or stuff that, hey, did somehow that translate to Sam Levitt? Again, I don't believe that's true, but it's weird that we're getting all these stories about these players giving away playbooks. I don't know why.
He didn't do a very good job because there were certain plays where Levitt looked completely confused and almost made a terrible decision where either Scadaboo saved him or he was able to get the ball away. But there was the one where he ran up the middle, just him, instead of handing it off to Scadaboo, and got stuffed. And me and Connor Connor was screaming, obviously, in my ear. But I was like,
generally when ASU is playing, I'm screaming.
He was like, what?
Was that the one where Scadaboo ran, Levitt turned left and Scadaboo ran directly behind him on the right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Levitt was like, oh no. Just took off on the middle, just ran right into the defender's arms.
You're like, where are you going?
Okay. All right. Let's save that one for the low light reel. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but I think ultimately at the end of the day that anything that allows outside influence of anybody off the field during the play is not a good idea.
Unless
Like,
it's
maintain
against
the integrity.
Alabama.
All right, so here's the next question for me then. Do you think that active cheating is going on more frequently? So we're talking about like this or playbooks, tampering even. Is that more and more relevant now in college football than it was in the past?
No, I think it was more relevant in the past because it was easier to get away with. I think there's a lot more rules and stuff that are stopping people from doing things. There's still going to be people getting away with it. I'm sure there's a handful of teams doing it right now. But back in the day, it seemed like it was a lot easier for some of these. They just like show up to their practice and just be like, oh, like just filming them and just get away with it. Just here's the tape, guys. Here's the plays they're running.
Yeah, but I mean, all it takes is one bad apple that's like, I'm out of here, I'm transferring, and he's like, all right, you're QB, here's the playbook, all yours.
I'm surprised there's not a punishment for that. Like,
yeah,
how did that Memphis guy not get punished for that? Did he transfer or did he graduate?
He transferred to Purdue, and then I
guess that's punishment
Purdue,
enough.
Transferring
going
again.
To Purdue, so.
Yeah.
You get to lose. You get to lose 11 times a year. The only team that could have been worse was Kent State. So,
yeah. Well, I maybe cheating is happening. I think that it is harder than people give it credit for in this day and age, when every move that we make in society is pretty well monitored, especially if you're a public figure of any kind of note. I mean, Jim Harbaugh had to sit out half a season, and they still didn't even conclusively prove anything. Like, they were like, yeah, we're pretty sure he did something.
Ohio State propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, if you believe or not believe Jim Harbaugh did something wrong, certainly the University of Michigan did, right?
Wasn't it the NCAA that gave those sanctions?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was the assistant coach that was filming and at different people's games and everything. I mean, he was guilty.
Yeah. I don't know. That kind of stuff is marginal, though.
Hearsay.
Game put it. I don't know. I think it's just hard to prove.
But is it marginal? Because if you have somebody else's playbook or you have a play, it makes a bunch of difference. Otherwise, coaching wouldn't mean a thing.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about it is quantifying how much it affects the game. Maybe they got caught, but also teams famously have an insane amount of complexity to their sign calling systems, and they change them every single game. So it's and for that reason, it's hard to determine what's actually going on there, and so it's really hard to tell what kind of damage is being done. So yeah, you shouldn't be spying, but at the same time, how much damage did you do? Are we doing a proportional punishment? Did you actually is there a crime committed if there is no victim because you didn't actually figure out how the sign you tried to steal the signs and it didn't work?
Ohio State feels very victimized, actually.
Yeah, I'd feel so bad for them.
4 years.
Yeah.
They want those wins vacated so bad.
Yeah. Could you imagine only winning 10 or 11 games a year for 4 years? Could you imagine a fate such as that?
After spending the most money out of any school? God.
Yeah.
Terrible. What a terrible life.
For Ohio State.
This is horrible.
Yeah, and winning 10, 11 games because you never have any injuries on your entire roster because half your season is played against Purdue, Northwestern, and Rutgers. And then whatever FCS programs you bring in on a ball and chain to sit there and be target practice for your linebackers at the beginning of the year.
We're going to have a heated comment section here.
I was going to say, half our fans on this show is Ohio State fans. Just a reminder.
That
Not
sounds
anymore.
like a them problem.
Fine,
No.
light me up if you think that any of that is not exactly how it happens.
Roast Connor in the comments right now.
Yeah. You want me to die on a hill? I will die on the hill that Ohio State is way too big for their britches. They need to be taken down just so many pegs over and over again. But they will as soon as actually good teams join the Big Ten, then maybe they will, but not this year. So, anyways, speaking of the comments section, that brings me to my questions. I made the mistake of getting into a back and forth on the comments section of, I forget if it was some major network post about something, but it sparked an interesting conversation that I wanted to have with you guys, regardless of how the grammar and grasp of the English language that this guy may or may not have had, who I was arguing with. And I will admit, it was just as childish of me to be egging him on as it was for
This
him
is, by the way, coming from someone who went to Arizona State.
Yeah. So my grasp of the English
Criticizing the
language is tenuous to begin with as well.
Your sophomore year high school teacher would be so proud of you, Connor.
I know. Yeah. Anyways, well, we'll save that story for a different day. But we won't name drop that one yet. But anyways, so the conversation was ultimately about whether or not tradition is good or bad for the sport of college football, in that is continued dominance. This person that I was arguing with, what I was able to boil down his argument to was that continued dominance by certain programs is good for the sport, because building that tradition builds stronger fan bases, and stronger fan bases mean more popularity for the sport, because it is intriguing every time they step on the field, because it makes every matchup, in this person's perspective, higher stakes, because is this the time that they fall, or what are they doing so well that they're innovating a product that is so airtight that they can continue to win championships or compete for them year in and year out over the course of decades, coaching changes, even in Ohio, and something like Alabama and Ohio State's case for 60 plus years now, just being a force. And I thought that was a little bit of a limited question, so I'm going to ask this in two parts. When is tradition good for the sport, in your guys' opinions? And then the second question will be, when is breaking tradition good? I think they're both good, but I want to know from you and Chase, as someone who, you're an LSU fan, an SEC fan, one of the traditionally the best football conference in the country, as much as I grit my teeth saying it. What are your thoughts on when is tradition good for the sport?
You want me to go?
Sure.
Okay. So you're back and forth on, having a powerhouse win all the time, if that's good or bad. It probably depends. I can see how it can be good for viewership and getting you in. So, for example, how many Alabama games do we watch collectively, us three?
More, I will admit, as much as I hate them, I do tune in for at least some segment of their game, unless I pull up my phone and it's already like 5 minutes in and into the first quarter and they're already up like 21-0, then I won't watch. But if it's a remotely close game, I'll probably tune in until it's not.
Why are you watching an Alabama game?
To see them go down.
Yep. So, I mean, I know this isn't the same sport, but talking about the NBA, viewership was high during the Golden State Warrior run. And, even when Cleveland was taking them on every year in the finals, because it was just dramatic. It was finding out who is the better team, who is their dynasty, is the legacy of LeBron James, etc., right? that does intrigue people. You had some kind of similarities happen in college football during that time as well. Alabama and Clemson, right? They go back and forth. Who's going to win? Who's not? In some of the highest viewerships and most intrigue into that. So I can see the value into the sport, but I can argue the other way that tradition breaking it can be good as well. So I'm going to go back to Colorado, where they're getting huge viewership numbers, and they're not traditional in any sort of way. You got Shador, who's shushing people, and you got Travis the Star, and you got Deion Sanders, and you got just this new way of doing things and showmanship, and people love it. So I think both can be good. Me as a fan who's been here a long time, I would love to not see Alabama win, but why would I hate Alabama if they didn't win all the time? I have to have somebody to hate. I gotta hate Ohio State because they keep winning. But if they didn't win all the time, I don't know. It would lose something for me, probably.
Well, when you put it that way, breaking tradition when you're bad is great, and breaking tradition when you're good is bad. So I'm I'm trying to.
But for the sport in general.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, like with the NBA scenario, a couple years into that, I wasn't that fond of the matchup either, but it was mostly because of the Kevin Durant stuff. I mean, I think I would have been a little bit more into it if not for that. Basically, what I would it's tampering essentially. That was a great series in 2016. It's probably my favorite finals I've ever seen. The only other one I can think of is 2013 with Ray Allen in Game 6. Like those two are two of my favorite finals because of how absolutely dramatic. They both went to Game 7, obviously. Super dramatic series. So those traditional matchups made it super interesting in that era, but that's not always the case. I mean, if I think back on Lakers and Celtics matchups, I don't think as fondly on those, even though for a lot of people it was a very interesting time. So, but that's basketball. For football, I think some seasons the only thing better than an LSU loss is an LSU win is an Alabama loss. So I would be totally fine with them making their new tradition losing at least 4 games a season, because that would be fantastic. They've had their time in the limelight. I would love to see them wither away and die. So
okay, so here, let me throw 2 wrenches at that. One, the Clemson Alabama saga that happened for years on and years on. That was actually, I mean, we got to know those 2 teams pretty intimately every year, and they caused some dramatic finals. I mean, I was every year I was just hoping and begging that Clemson would pull it out, and they did a couple years, but it did cause more intrigue than for me probably last year Notre Dame and
Ohio State.
Ohio State, yes. I mean, that was probably more intriguing for me. But there are some years that something could change up. My second point, though, is if Alabama was bad, which they had pre-Saban, they were pretty bad, you're just going to find another team to hate.
I have other
It's
teams.
It's going to be Georgia next.
I have other teams I hate, but Alabama.
But they're going to be your new Alabamas.
I don't know. Have you seen some of the rivalries? Like some older fans, some people still hate teams that have not done well in a long time. They're still no, I hate that team way more than Alabama or
yes, but I'm talking about a national fan base. Let's say Notre Dame just started taking off. I can see a ton of people just yeah, we hate Notre Dame.
There's already a big anti-fan base of Notre Dame, so yeah, I could see that too.
Sure, but it's not Alabama and Ohio State right now, but it could be.
That's a personal opinion. I was not fond of the matchup because it was Ohio State and Notre Dame. I mean, I think it would have been a better game than Penn State and Ohio State, because we see what Penn State did every time they played Ohio State. So I thought Notre Dame would have been more interesting in that regard. But I think before some of the dominoes fell, last season was more interesting because of the parity. Like, there were so many schools that were like, oh my God, they have a chance. ASU had a chance. Like, when's the last time that happened? Like, and obviously that's a personal bias. It's like, I'd love to see an Arizona team win something other than, 2001 World Series, or like a WNBA championship or something. Like, the Arizona is notorious for not winning those, but there was a lot of smaller teams that had people like tuning in to watch these games. And when it's the same team every 5 seconds, like, I didn't even really watch the matchup because I didn't really care. For one, I would have had to go somewhere, but I didn't really care to see Ohio State and Notre Dame. So
I agree. I love the parity. I love that teams have more of a chance, and that's maybe more of a local thing too. Like, your local team has way more interest now on the national stage. But again, I just think there's something about defeating Darth Vader that is great. And Alabama right now is Darth Vader. Ohio State is Darth Vader. That biggest, baddest dude, that thing that it seems like an impossible mountain to climb. And because it's an impossible mountain to climb, when they lose, it's so much better than if they were just losing all the time.
David was just a shepherd until he fought and beat Goliath. And I think that is kind of the essence of what we're getting at with what we love and hate. I think that what a lot of people take issue with, it's what makes the sport wonderful and maddening in the best way at the same time, is that you have these teams that you follow all year long, and you wonder if they just get their shot, are they going to be able to do it? Are they going to be the ones? And what is so beautiful about it is that you've got 12 games in the regular season to make your case why you deserve to be on that battlefield. And a lot of teams we know are going to be there already. Like, we already do know that like a lot of the people are going to be there. And this is the post that I actually got in this argument on. It was the Big Ten media days happened this last week, and I forget who they were. I don't think it was one of the coaches. It might have been some athletic director or the Big Ten commissioner or something like that. But he was a big wig from some school or a big wig within the Big Ten. He was being interviewed about what teams he was really excited to watch. Asked, okay, who do you think is going to make a big splash this year? And he was bringing up, I really want to see Illinois take that next step. I really want to see if Indiana can keep that momentum going. And then they said, okay, who do you think is going to actually be in the championship this year? And guess who he said? When pressed this much, when just asked one follow-up question, he immediately dropped all of his hype and said, Penn State and Oregon. Who would have thunk, right? It was either them or Ohio State. Like, it was not, Michigan might be good enough again to make it, but it's going to be one of those four and probably one of those three, or two of those three. You know what I mean? And it was just like, oh my goodness, I couldn't stand it. This guy, when given the slightest amount of pressure, immediately came and was like, yeah, it's probably going to be them again, as we all know. And I mean, would it be good if Penn State finally pulled it off? Maybe. I mean, it would be nicer than Ohio State pulling it off, because at least then Ohio State wouldn't have the bye. But you love to follow it because you can see them have that shot. And that's when I got into the argument, because I just made the comment, they're like, oh boy, when push comes to shove, they always pick the Goliath. And that's one thing that we really wanted to do with this show, was we finally want to give David some credit and be able to say, yeah, I will back them. I will say that they do have a fighting chance, and let's start a new tradition. Let's fight. Let's say that it is possible. Let's give them some kind of a fighting chance, some kind of odds, some kind of platform to say, yeah, we're not just going to put the same two logos on the screen every single year. And I think that changing of the guard, establishing and then remixing and then reestablishing, I think that is what makes this sport so beautiful, is to be able to have those moments. And I think that people love to see traditions be made and then traditions crumble as well. And we love the fan bases that are on the rise, and we just want to see them have that shot.
Yeah, the one tradition that needs to crumble is the tradition of the committee giving 5 extra chances to Alabama and Ohio State and all those big schools.
Amen.
It's a 3-loss and then 4-loss after the bowl game. Alabama team with that bad of scheduled losses to a notoriously historically bad Vanderbilt team and a trending down OU team, and somehow the committee was probably within 3 points of the ACC championship, SMU and Clemson. If that game had been decided by 10 points, they would have put Alabama in. Even though they ended up losing to a not so good Michigan team, they would have put Alabama in the last spot. And
even though likely BYU had a better argument to go after.
That is when tradition absolutely fails us, because there's no reason that we should be letting a comparatively mediocre Alabama team in. A lot of their fans didn't want to even be in because they're like, Jalen Milroe is not going to be good for this, and their team's not ready for this, and 100% they didn't deserve to basically just be given a bit. Like, why even play this? Why even play your schedule if you're going to get in after that many losses? It's ridiculous. If there were close
in our very first
to Georgia and to LSU and those ones, then that's different. But losing to a 6-6 Vandy and a 6-6 OU, and then a close one to Tennessee is not a good schedule. That's not a good strength of schedule. So, honestly,
in our very first episode, we were talking about a subject similar to this, and I was saying that we want to, on this show, give credit where it's due, not before it's due. And I think that's the point that we're all trying to make with this, is we got no issues with the fact that Alabama has won so many championships, with the fact that so many teams have won so many championships and have won so many games and had so much talent come through their rosters over the years and the decades, and in some cases over a century of excellent play, especially in cases like Michigan, that it innovated a lot of the sport happened at schools like that. I want to say it was a Michigan coach that invented the linebacker position or something, like in the early 20s, and just amazing things that have been done for over 100 years now. But what we love to see is every team earn it fresh every year. And that's the kind of thing that bugs us about tradition, is when you put someone in to a spot that they haven't earned, because historically they've been the ones to come out on top, when in reality that might not be the team this year. And then you get all this uproar, especially in the higher levels of the media, who say, that's not fair. You shouldn't put someone like Indiana in just because they won 2 extra games and against equal level of competition. And that's one thing that I just absolutely love about what we're doing with this show, is we're saying, yeah, it is fair. We have another voice, and we can say that, yes, that is the correct thing to do, is when someone has earned it this year, then they should be given the credit for this year. And then, once this season is done, then you lump that in with history and you close that chapter, and then we get to open a new one every day. Anything else on that, Chance?
Well, if that's what you're going for on tradition, then I can understand it. Although, I gotta say, Connor, sometimes you contradict yourself, because there's way too much mention of this is a cursed program and they're going to lose because they have 60 years of cursed program stuff and I don't believe in them. When, again, I agree with you. Throw that out of the garbage. It's a different team. We got to see what they can do. And then sometimes you're right. We got to believe in the small guys. When Tulane goes up against Texas A&M, you just got to make that bet.
Oh, you're going to make me do it again, aren't you? You're just mad that you've got 3 takes We've only
Hey,
got
You're
Connor.
the one who says I stick up for the little guys, and I want to give them a fighting chance and believe in them and give them the.
Oh
Hey,
man, you
hey,
want me
Connor.
to do it, don't you?
Oh,
It's
well,
a
yeah,
whole
that's
other
right. I don't
episode.
believe in 'em.
Hey, Connor, is UTSA going to beat Texas A&M?
Oh
Yeah,
man,
UTSA.
you're really gonna do this. You're gonna get me all riled up. You're gonna call me out.
Is UTSA going to beat Texas A&M, Connor?
Oh, that you got me so mad now.
You love
You did it
love
yourself.
seeing SEC teams get put in their place, Connor. Is UTSA going to stick it to Texas A&M the first game of the season?
It's the second game.
Second game of the season.
All right, you know what? Here's how much I want to see it happen. I don't even think that it's gonna happen, but I want to see it happen so bad that I'm gonna manifest it. Fine. I will die on that hill.
Are you willing to die on that hill, Connor?
You bet I am. Go Roadrunners.
Sticky note, Chance.
Thank you,
Sticky
Chase.
note.
Sticky
You
note.
baited him.
Yep, I'll take that in a heartbeat. Because traditionally, Connor, you're right. Texas A&M, they always win
Fine.
games.
Fine. Let's go Roadrunners. I got it. You happy? You brought it back a whole episode, and here I am.
Oh man.
Had to be done.
You just rage baited me so hard. You had me give a whole speech and called me out. I gotta give you credit. That was a brilliant circle back.
You were the whole speech. That's all I could think about. Is like, yeah, he's not backing up those words with what he just did. I'm glad you
Fine.
backed it up. Good job.
He's
Yeah,
calling you
thanks.
soft, Connor. He's calling you soft.
Ain't nobody calling me soft around here. I'll die on that hill. Trust me, I've done a lot stupider things with my life.
Yeah. Like every season you've said ASU was going to go undefeated.
I have never said that.
Yes, you did.
Except for
will.
this season.
I can't tell you.
Right,
I can't tell you
Connor?
what exact season, but there's a season where they ended 6-6, and you said they were going.
I think that was 2015. I think that was after. Yeah, I think that was 2015 after they had they had those two back-to-back 10-win seasons, and I really believed in the quarterback, and I really believed in a lot of stuff, and yeah, they lost to Oregon. They lost to one of the worst Oregon teams in the last 12 years on my birthday in triple overtime.
Yeah, we
on
were
the
there.
most
It was great.
physically impossible, ridiculous play. It's on YouTube. You can go
With,
back
like,
and watch it.
Not to mention with Oregon's least known quarterback ever.
Yeah. Does anybody remember? I think it was Braylon Addison or something like. I mean, it was a nobody quarterback out of Oregon, and he throws up a prayer in triple coverage, and it was a mesh route, and these two receivers are running towards each other, and the ball is thrown perfectly in between the two of them. They bounce off of each other, and the ball lands in one of their hands on the ground, and that's how the game ends. I mean, on my birthday, I couldn't believe it. So, yeah. I think that was the year that I was that naive about that ASU team. And that was not their first.
Was it Vernon Adams Jr.?
Vernon Adams, not Braylon Addison. I don't even remember that. Is it Jordan? Anyway, the last name of some quarterback for them was Addison. But
what's funny is that I was attending that school that year, and somehow you were higher on that team.
You and I were at that game together in the student section. I hadn't dropped out.
This was the year between Mariota and Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
The least known Oregon quarterback.
Vernon Adams Jr. Yeah. I didn't even get the name right. I knew it was an A name. I don't even know where I got Jordan Addison, a running back, maybe? I don't know. Anyways. Well, you managed to do it, Chance. Congratulations. Somebody else is now up to multiple sticky notes.
Snaps for Chance. Snaps in the chat.
All right. I'm gonna regret this in a while. Or I won't. Or maybe you guys are going to eat it.
You're going to regret it right away. It's week 1 or 2.
He says,
All right.
too.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been our last episode of the Concussion Protocol Podcast before fall camp starts, before we really get into what the season is going to look like. There's going to be so much news coming at you out of all this. We're going to have more hot takes coming your way as things unfold, as fall camp progresses, as more news just comes at us over and over and over again. It's going to be a blast. We have less than 1 month till the season starts, August 23rd, Farmageddon in Ireland, kicking it off, Kansas State, Iowa State in Europe. It's going to be amazing. We've only got, barely 3 weeks left until that one. It's going to be just as brilliant of a season as it always is with college football. Thank you for joining us so far. We look forward to having you along for the rest of the ride. Signing off. We'll see you guys.